A car is driving fast and a man called James Beale says that Lionel Luthor is expecting his call, but he's in a meeting and the man starts raging. He has found something. Jonathan is driving and the man starts honking his horn and screaming. He tells Jonathan to move and then hits him. As he wants to overtake, his car stumbles. Jonathan pulls him from the car. As he walks off, the car explodes. We see the flower that the man had with him move. It releases some poison at Jonathan's face, which makes him sneeze. The flower then withers. Dr. Hamilton arrives at Lex's mansion and says that one of his experiments was stolen by one of Lex's employees. The man was helping Hamilton install some equipment and stole a Nicodemus flower, which has been extinct for 100 years. He irradiated the dormant seeds with meteor fragments. He says that Beals was in a car accident and was saved by Jonathan Kent. As Clark enters, Jonathan's acting strange. He doesn't want to do the chores and drinks a beer. Lex arrives. He heard about the accident with his employee and asks if Jonathan's alright. But Jonathan says he just wanted to see if they were going to sue him or not. And then tells him he hates all the Luthors, his friendship with Clark, and couldn't care less if they died. He then burps at him. Clark tells Pete what his dad said to Lex, but Pete likes it because Lionel Luthor cheated his family out of the creamed corn factory 12 years ago. Chloe comes up and asks the boys what their deepest desire is. She's doing a poll. Pete wants to sleep with a random girl. When Clark asks about Pete and Lex, he's told by Chloe that Pete is jealous of his friendship with him. Lana's deepest desire is to climb the windmill in Chandler's field. When Clark mentions Lana to Chloe, she tells him to move on. Jonathan's acting romantic and says he feels free. Martha says he's burning up. As Martha leaves, Jonathan gets a call from the bank. They are turning down his loan. He picks up the phone and unleashes his anger and then smashes the phone. Jonathan's driving recklessly. Clark sees him and then chases him. He has a shotgun and tells Clark that this town has screwed him over and he's pushing back. He loads the gun. Clark grabs it, but is then shot in the chest. Jonathan suddenly feels very dizzy and then faints. At the hospital, the doctor tells them that he has a severe anaphylactic shock, but they can't detect any known antigens. James Beals also showed identical symptoms and he's in a coma now. Chloe and Lana are at the crash site looking for something since both men have the same symptoms. Chloe takes some pictures. Lana says she found something and then the flower releases the same matter into Lana's face. As they leave, she is sneezing. Lex says Hamilton hasn't been honest with him. He read about the flower that in 1871 a strange contagion struck the Morley settlement and almost 200 people died overnight. The settlers began acting out of character. With a single sneeze, instincts came out and violence erupted. Hamilton says the flowers have some other application, but Lex is angry because people are in the hospital. He tells him to pack the flowers as he needs an antidote. At school, Lana's dressed attractively. She then comes on to Whitney. However, he's not in the mood due to his dad's illness. Lana then walks away and tells him off. Whitney says they should perhaps reconsider their relationship. She then breaks up with him. As Clark's at the office, Lana enters and he's surprised with her new look. She tells Clark to follow her. They enter the swimming pool and she starts undressing. Clark is uncomfortable. She jumps into the pool and asks Clark to come in. She then tells him not to hold back. They then make out. Clark is a bit nervous and then falls into the pool. As he comes out, the principal is there. Clark mentions this weird incident to Chloe. She says she didn't find anything at the site and is doing fine. They see on her picture that Dr. Hamilton was also in the woods. Lex is on the phone and says the patients are getting worse. Lana arrives at the town and says that they are closing up early. She then tells everyone to drink up. Lex gets up and says that they only close at 9. She says she doesn't care about the town and then touches him. She asks him if it was really about the prophet. He takes off her hands and asks if she's alright. She says she's nervous and needs guidance from someone who's more experienced. He asks her where she has been the last 24 hours. She gets mad and starts pushing him. She says she's not insecure and throws a ball at Lex and then steals his keys as she runs away. She drives off with the Porsche. Clark then chases her. Chloe asks Dr. Hampton why he was in the woods. He says he was looking for meteor samples. When she mentions the accident, he pretends he doesn't know about it. She then sees the book on the Nicodemus plant and says she was mistaken. Lana's driving through the mud. She arrives at the windmill. Clark then also arrives. She says she is confident and he should tell her how he feels about her. She then calls him a coward. She starts climbing the mill. Just then, dizziness overcomes her and then falls down. Clark catches her and she then faints. Lana's brought into the hospital. Martha says Jonathan slipped into a coma and they don't know how long he'll last. Lex says he's sorry. Clark says it's not his fault, but he feels remorse. Chloe talks about the history of the flower. She calls a first-hand account of Smallville's first mystery. The flower liberated repressed feelings, sent people into rages, then fever, and then worse. The flowers got destroyed. Hamilton was studying them and wrote a paper on it. They say Hamilton brought back the flower and he wants to cover it up now. Chloe tells Clark that it was actually Lex who checked out the Nicodemus diary. Pete says he warned him. Lex says the doctors have isolated the problem. Clark says he knows he checked the diary out of the library. Lex admits it and says that his property was built on the site of the original settlement. He wanted to help when he heard about his dad. Clark says why he didn't tell, but Lex mentions he was grasping at straws. Clark asks about Hamilton. Lex asks who it is. He's then grabbed by Clark, who tells him not to lie. Lex tells him to calm down. He's not responsible and is trying to fix it. Chloe and Pete have entered Hamilton's lab. Pete breaks something and is not to be seen. Chloe sees the flower, and as sneezing, Pete approaches her with a smirk. He tells her she's beautiful. She tells him he's been infected and needs to go to the hospital. He grabs her and is angry and jealous because of Clark. When she wants to call Clark, he says he's probably with Lex, his best friend. Pete then finds a gun and tells Chloe to give him her keys. He then points the gun and yells. Martha says Mr. Beals died half an hour ago. She then tells an emotional story of how she met Jonathan. Chloe needs Clark. She says that Hamilton lied and that Pete got affected. He went with a gun to Lex. Hamilton found an old book from a museum. He's saying that the Native Americans must have developed some sort of herbal antidote, and in it are the instructions. Lex will send it to a team in the metropolis, but suddenly Dangerous Pete says that no one is going anywhere. He shoots at Lex and blames him for everything. As Hamilton runs, he shoots him. The book falls into the fire. Whiny Pete is jealous because Lex is Clark's friend. As Lex wants to grab the book, Hamilton hits Pete and then runs off as Pete shoots at him. Clark enters, but gunning Pete wants to kill Lex. He says that Hamilton was there and they're working together. Lex says he's delusional. Clark says Pete's right and Lex has been lying. He says he can't talk his way out and then throws him against the wall. When Pete wants to finish him off, Clark takes away the gun and then taps him on his head. He goes unconscious and Lex wakes up. Clark apologizes and says he didn't know what else to do. He asks if Hamilton was really there, but Lex denies this. Jonathan wakes up and doesn't know why he's there. Doctors found a cure. Lex sees Jonathan's awake. Chloe comes to Hamilton's barn, but it is completely empty. Lex tells Hamilton he destroyed his lab. He says he's lucky that the infected don't remember anything. Lex says he has a small research facility outside Metropolis, Cadmus Labs. Hamilton will be hidden there. He tells Lex he's the one opening Pandora's box. Lex says he's just the key, and they then shake hands. Clark is with Lana sitting at the windmill looking at Metropolis. Lana doesn't remember anything. They then enjoy together Lana's deepest desire.